Getting ahead in America is next to impossible. Getting ahead in the rest of the world with an American salary is an absolute win. I mean, I can buy an apartment here right now that's beautiful for 60,000 euros, 80,000 euros. I can start accumulating properties here, and the advance is 5-10%. So imagine, what the fuck is 10% on $80,000, dude? Are you kidding me? And I have an apartment, and it's mine, and the monthly payment is nothing, jack shit. It's insane.
But Bo, do you think you're going to stay there for the rest of your life, or
definitely?
Or
I think if the old lady's, I gotta take her to Dubai just if she likes it, because like I said, for the family structure, Dubai is nice, but she's very Balkan at heart, doesn't give a shit about all that fancy looking stuff, and it's cool to visit, but she likes her green, her mountains. So we're gonna go to the mountain town in Romania and maybe see what Switzerland's like. It's expensive as shit, but it's clean. It's a beautiful society. So I think I'm gonna end up staying for sure. I'm not coming to America, period, ever again. I can't. It doesn't make financial sense. Society, it doesn't make sense. Things are becoming more and more dangerous. I mean, the attempt on Trump's life, if you want to consider the election hasn't even happened yet. What happens post-election? Because half of the country's not going to approve of the other half. Who wins? We're more divided than we've ever been. It doesn't seem to be, mending over in any way. The division is being spread more and more. We have a new communist, I was going to do a episode on this, but we have, if you don't know, look this up, a new communist party in America now has just formed. Yes, the colleges are fabricating them at breakneck speeds. Like every normal kid going in is now coming out basically like a rainbow hair commie. It's kind of crazy because the Eastern Europeans here are looking at America undergoing like this communist revolution essentially right before their eyes. And they're going like, holy shit, dude, we fought for decades to claw our way back from this depravity economically. And we had to kill some of our old commie party members. And people here swear, like they spit hearing the word communism and shit. Only the old, like 70, 80 years old people have like rose-tinted glasses thinking life was better. But you ask a young person, anybody that had to live through the bread lines, all of that shit where you could only drive on the road, Mondays for men, Tuesdays for women, Wednesdays off for gas rations. Like you live through kind of insane rations or rationing, like electricity. Nobody has it for, Saturday, all Saturday, or gas or shit like that. And we're seeing America start to go towards that ideology. Dude, everybody's scared shitless. They're like, holy fuck, because if America falls, what's left? That's the only thing holding the free world together. Like even Americans don't really understand the importance of American influence. Like, yes, you're the biggest country, but all the little countries gauge where they need to be morally, where they need to be culturally, and law-wise, like democratically where they need to be. If America starts turning dictatorial or authoritarian, like everybody follows. It's impossible to resist. So I don't know. Where's it going to be safe after that? I don't know, dude. Will that come in our lifetimes? I have no idea. Democracy is a slow-moving machine, but the advent of technology sped up a lot of things. I mean, I didn't think we'd get here now, I mean, we have people questioning their gender now. Like, honestly, we live in the age of science and technology and people don't know what a woman is. Like, who could have seen that coming? When I was a kid, they used to say shit like, in the year 2021, we're going to be living like the Jetsons and shit, like we're all going to be flying around our little private plane cars and with our robotic maids and like the era of atomic energy and like everything, nuclear power will change everything. And dude, we've regressed. Like we're turning into cave people again. Like it's insane. But what the most important thing is, like, for all the men listening, start to position your investments away from the dollar, anything tied to the dollar. People don't know this, but we are every year ballooning $4 trillion in debt. Now every dollar that gets taken through taxes, 76% of that is spent on servicing the interest on the nation's debt. For those of you that have not kept up with this, 76% of the entire taxes collected by the United States government is servicing the interest on the debt, not the principal, the interest.
Not the
We are fucked. We are in a short amount of time, we are going to be at the point of no return where who knows what's going to happen. All the smart people have already been getting out of the dollar. Reposition your stuff into precious metals or industrial metals are really good because industry will always be needed. And some other things. Yeah, gold's always a safe haven kind of deal. It's a slow burner investment, but keeping cash in the bank, all of them really, but what the most important thing is overall, you need to keep all your money in an asset that will appreciate over time, because if you've kept, say, $100,000 in the last couple of years, inflation alone has just eaten, I don't know how much of that, probably 10 grand has just disappeared. $15,000 has disappeared to inflation alone. I mean, look at what happened to the used car market. They were selling for more than what people were buying them brand new just a few years prior. I know because I sold my car doing that. And I made more on my car than when I bought it, and it was used. So I knew to stay away from a bunch of these like purchases that Americans were making, like TVs and shit and cars and washing machines and, you know, all the shit that we were spending our money on. We printed 40% of our money supply in the last 2 years. It took 200 and something odd years for us to, I don't know how many hundreds of millions of dollars, billions to print in monetary supply. We did 40% of that in just 2 years. And this happened under Trump, by the way. Most people don't know this, but Trump is the one that printed all this money. It's just a few years later it takes for the lagging effects of inflation to actually begin. So people are blaming Biden for the shitty economy. It's actually been going on before either of these two were president. You know, this started way before even Obama bailed out the bank. You know what I mean? Another thing, the 2008 crash was not, how could you say, allowed to fail in a capitalistic manner. We socially bailed everybody out, all the banksters, right? It was privatized gains and socialized losses. We paid for all their bullshit. And so these companies that are now, quote, we even say it out loud, it's too big to fail. That's socialism. For companies. Yeah, you're too big to allow to fail. Imagine that. Instead of taking the pain on the chin for the first couple of years and letting these companies go under and completely resetting the markets and the prices of houses and whatever the other bubbles that pop, we propped it up artificially with taxpayer money, and that inflated everything around us, depreciated the dollar, and that's why you're seeing things skyrocket again. We're in other bubbles because we're spending our way through the economy. COVID just exacerbated the problem. Obviously, look at the prices of everything today. It's insane. And it's only going to get worse. So your salary, this is why, look, they just instituted, you could look this one up too. It's $20 an hour now for minimum wage, I believe, in California for burger flippers, you know, working at fast food. I think they just bumped it up to 20 an hour. It was 15 and now it's bumped to 20. Why? Because you have to keep up with inflation. Now, can you imagine just 5 years ago, the conversation of you will make $20 an hour at McDonald's? Can you imagine that? Like, people would laugh in your face. That's insanity. So it's like, how do you get ahead in America now? Because all you're doing is just keeping up with inflation price-wise. An average dude on an average salary with average expenses, if you can get remote work, or I should say make it a priority to somehow get remote work, do research, teach yourself marketable skills that could be harnessed remotely, because it's not looking good unless you're in the STEM field. Honestly, it looks terrible. Except trades, fine. But trades will lock you in America. And sure, you can earn a ton of money, but that also comes with its own risk, because you need to move to certain markets in America that are hot and looking for the trades. Not all the markets are the same. And on top of that, we're importing millions of people across the border. Like, these are going to be the next ones that are getting trained. So how is that going to crush wages in the near term, in the next 5-6 years, when we have, I don't know how many tens of millions of immigrants coming across, and they're going to look for that kind of work, you know? It's not easy, boys, but I can show you what happens if you live overseas. For example, me alone, I spend a third of what I did in America and living twice as good. I have access to all the amenities I've ever needed. I can go out and eat at a restaurant, for example. Me and my girl in America may cost $300. Here it would cost maybe $80. That's the difference. Housing, it's cheap. If I wanted to, I could rent a place for 300-400 euros, which is basically around the same in dollars nowadays. They're almost on parity. So imagine $450 a month. You know, that's impossible to find in America. That maybe you share a room with somebody in America for that much, or you're renting out somebody's room, you know, but here I can get my own place in a nice area that's completely safe and there's no crime, and I can walk everywhere, by the way. So there's not the car culture here. It's actually public transportation. I don't use it, but it's available and extremely cheap. But the grocery store, the bank, the whatever else you need, pharmacy, is all within walking distance. They're everywhere. 5-minute walk here, 10-minute walk there. Yes, better. At least designed for pedestrians. We'll say that. Yeah. The city design is much better. You've lived in Spain. You can tell them how it's like just walking area. It's absolutely gorgeous. To sit down at a cafe and not have a speeding car 60 miles per hour on the fucking 4-lane road next to you. It's insane. It's just like the squares in the shit where people are actually eating and people watching and enjoying a coffee on a nice brisk evening. It's completely different. And the lifestyle, the pace of life. Yeah. I can't begin.
Yeah. I even hate having to just drive everywhere, because that's the only choice I have living in a big city. Yeah. Just walking everywhere just sounds so much better.
Yeah, and I've lived in downtown Atlanta. I lived in Buckhead, and I lived again in downtown in parts of Phoenix. And it blew me away that I can't walk to like a normal shop to get some coffee. It's like 10 fucking blocks of apartment or businesses that have nothing to do with food or anything like that. And then I got to take my car all the way over to get to one coffee shop, which has a massive parking lot shared by 10 other buildings. And it's the most disgusting shit ever. And there's no nice patio with, old trees or flowers or some shit. You know how Europe looks, and where you can just sit down and hear birds chirping and people conversing. No, I hear people's loud ass boom boxes and fucking modified exhaust and yelling like drug addicts on the street and shit. And it's like, wow, dude, romantic much, America? Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah, but like you say, just getting out to see the different countries, because there's no utopia anywhere. But for what we are looking for, like you mentioned, work-life balance, they've got that really good in Spain. Just as you said, being able to live somewhere where you can walk everywhere. And in Spain, it was great. Bike lanes everywhere. Great metro system, great bus system. And yeah, I mean, they've been hit by inflation like everywhere, and prices have gone way up. In a lot of these European countries and other countries, the gas will be a lot more expensive than the U.S. So, there's always trade-offs. So, but just like you're recommending, I mean, absolutely, people get out and at least see the world. And so at least you know what's out there and what works for you, and things are important for you. And obviously, maybe living in Europe, if you need to drive a lot, if you do need to buy gas a lot, well, that's going to be, the U.S. is going to be a little bit better for that. But as far as so many things, and one of the things, of course, in the U.S., healthcare is so expensive. And then in Europe, a lot of that, just as a citizen, a resident of the UK, resident of Spain, that was covered. All the time I could go to Spain. And even if something like, for example, I was working with a health coach and she said, hey, you're older, get your testosterone checked. Called up my doctor in Spain. This is just a couple of years ago. Hey, can I get my testosterone checked? They're like, yeah. And it was free. I didn't pay for really much of anything except maybe like $10 for my vitamin D supplements. I didn't pay for anything the whole time I was in Spain. However, you're paying higher taxes. In the U.S., the taxes are lower. So again, it's just get out there and see what the baseline is for all these different things, and do your research. And because again, there's no utopia anywhere, but as a rule of thumb, making a Western wage, living in a more sort of up and coming developing country, I think that's the key.
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly. Up and coming is the key there. Don't go to anywhere developed. It's going to suffer from the same problems. It's overcrowded. It's overpriced, and there's no opportunity to get ahead because you're late to the game. But if you go somewhere developing and you're watching a city sprout up all around you, that's why the Philippines is so popular, or Thailand, for a lot of guys right now, because they can go to these regional cities, not even the capitals, even though the capitals are dirt cheap too compared to America. But the guys that are really making a killing and doing life-changing investments are in the regional cities close by. They may be 30 minutes drive from, the capital city, but God, dude, the prices depressed dramatically, and they're living in compounds, in villas by the beach, and they're spending like $100,000, $150,000 max. And that's villa. That's a villa. There's one guy that I was talking to. He had already traveled like 30, 40 countries, dude. He was this, what was he? I think he was from the UK, younger dude, 26 something, black guy, very well put together, super muscular dude. He was coming through Romania, had lived here for close to a year already. The previous place was Bali, and then he was leaving back to Thailand or something, he said. He had friends that are currently living there and investing together in a bunch of houses and all this other crazy shit. And we were just talking about prices of everything, and I was just shocked that you can go for $2 and go eat a complete meal with a drink, everything, and like a dessert and all that. He's like, every day. And the infrastructure is shockingly good in the capitals. When you're in these high rises that are like 100 stories tall and everything is perfect, got infinity pools, it looks like a little Dubai, right? And he's like, oh, it's only $40,000. He's like, to buy this condo. And you're living here, you got everything you need, everything within walking distance, public transportation is good, and it costs nothing to live day to day. You go to the beach, you can go get a boat to take you to one of those islands, you can go scuba diving, you can do all this crazy shit for just dollars. Like when we say the power of an American salary overseas, like I'm saying, it'll dramatically change your life. And it's dramatic because you're being squeezed to death in America. I'm telling you, it's a struggle when you're paying $20 for McDonald's, and what a guy with $20 is eating in Thailand is a fucking buffet, like a feast of like fish and like steaks and fucking caviar and lobster and all this shit. Dude, the food when I went to Mexico, like Mexico has, it was cheap like that when I went back in college, and I couldn't believe what $20 got you. Like I had 10 fucking giant lobsters on my plate, and that was like $20 with like God knows what other fish, octopus and squid and all this shit. And I'm like, wow, this meal would be like, just for the poundage alone is like $500 in America. Like it's insane, dude. The amount of lobster and shit I was eating in Mexico for nothing. And like 20-cent tacos. You know, they have those little taco stands in Mexico where like the meat's spinning and the guy will literally just shave off the meat right there, give you like cilantro and pico de gallo and all this stuff, and boom, dude, it's like a cent. Fucking nothing. For like $1, you get like 10 tacos. You know, it's just insanity, man. It's insanity. Until you experience it, you really don't know. And so I'm permanently staying here because it's kind of my people. It's my language, so it makes integration easier. But I'm gonna visit the Philippines and Thailand and all. I want to see what it's like because everybody that passes through, you know, that I talk to, they're coming from those parts of the world. Bali is another cheap little paradise. Obviously, it's gotten a little bit popular, but the fact is, dude, with just like $700 a month, guys are living their life and doing great and thriving, not surviving, like thriving with $700. You don't need to even do that much. Like $2,000 is what people say you would want, say in Thailand or the Philippines, but that $2,000 is like you taking your girl out every day, obviously having a girlfriend, paying for shit, you know, like enjoying life. That's not $2,000 that goes to bills. That's like $2,000 to live. You know, if you really wanted to get by, there's dudes that are doing it for, the $700 where they're like bare minimum expenses and shit, you know? But to say that you can survive on $700 but be by a beautiful beach, what the fuck? That's insane. People are paying $700 for car notes in America, like just the car. It's fucking madness, dude. Yeah.
6 months store, and they had like tomahawk steaks or like ribeyes in the grocery store, and they were like $6 or $7. Jeez. And we ate like kings down there, and it was like that same steak here. I'm up in Canada, it'd be like $30 or $40. They were like $5, $6, $7. It was good eat, like it wasn't like shitty Mexican steaks. You know, they were like really good.
Yeah. You'll be shocked at the quality because you think you're gonna get worse, and then you actually look and you're like, oh shit, it's actually almost everything here is better than what is offered in America for cheaper. What the fuck? Why are we getting screwed? Coffee is better. Ice cream, the gelatos are better. The pizza, the bread, it's all fresh. It's all good. It spoils in a couple of days like it should. It's not filled with preservatives and chemicals. You know, like everything has taste. All the fruits, dude, they look weird. They're, you know, they look real, like someone picked them out of the ground. The fucking eggs at the supermarket has like feathers and dirt on them. You know, they don't go like this overly clean, you know, like this like corporate look that America tries to go with, where like the eggs are shining clean. All the tomatoes are the same size and have that sheen to them. You know, all the apples look the same. Fuck no, dude. You got weird looking fruits here, like someone plucked them out of their own yards. You know, like really organically.
Feels
grown.
natural.
It's natural and it tastes that way too, and it's incredible, man. It makes you feel good. You don't feel like shit. It was shocking me. The food shocked me the most because in America, I had come and lived in Romania for about 6 months before I came back to get my parents. I came back and I got 3 coffees because I'm used to European sizes. When they say large, they really mean like small in American, you know? So I get 3 large lattes and then I'm given these giant coffees, dude. And I'm like, fuck me. I just made a mistake. I can't finish all this. I only finished 1 coffee and the next day, dude, my skin was like itchy as shit. I had dry scalp. I was getting essentially like an immune response from coffee alone. Just the milk in the coffee I had in the latte was fucking me up. I'm not even going to go into the rest of the food I was eating. And then I go back to Europe, everything is fine again. And my parents had come to Europe and they lost like 20 pounds each. They're eating the same food. They're as active as they were in America. It's the same, but you just, dude, you feel better, you look better. And it's like, it pisses me off until you experience it. Yeah.
Second that, Bo, because when I go to Spain, like I lost weight so much easier now that I've been back in the U.S. for about a year. I've like gained 20 pounds, and just the way your body feels, like you say, you can tell the food is a better quality. It was cheaper as well, paradoxically enough. But every time, even when I would go back and visit family back in the U.S., every time my digestive system would would kind of rebel, and I kind of had issues going on. And I don't know whether that's just because of the pesticides and the Roundup or the additives, even though I was still trying to eat pretty clean and good, but just the base, whatever they just treat the vegetables and fruits and meats with, just almost, just the laws are different. And people take their food more seriously, and less, additives and pesticides are either allowed by law or just generally not preferred in Europe and other countries. I mean, like Bo says, just the difference in the food will shock you when you start going to other places.